welcome to the world's most famous podcast. I'm your hostess, Jacqueline Maddison. Today we have a very special guest, Sylvain Horwood. He is the founder of PURU, which is Switzerland's top sun care brand. Additionally, he's also the author of The Sun. This is a book that is a guide to natural harmony, blending clear science, practical tips, and timeless wisdom. It makes a compelling case for embracing sunlight wisely. His work highlights sunlight's benefits, and he debunks the myths about UV exposure. We are very excited to have him on the show today. I'm sure we're going to learn lots from what he has to say. Let's welcome Sylvain to the show.
Hello.
Hello, Sylvain. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Great. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing well, thanks. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. I'm so excited to dive in. Why don't we get started with you telling a little background about yourself?
Sure. So I'm originally from the UK, and I was born in London and grew up on a macrobiotic organic diet.
Wow.
Back in the 80s, I guess, right? Before it was
before it was cool?
Maybe, yeah. So yeah, my parents were kind of into holistic health and that kind of thing early on. And yeah, had a career and grew up and educated in London and England, and then moved to Switzerland, Zurich, around 10 years ago now. Initially when I came to Zurich and moved here, I found it hard to find natural products that I was used to getting more easily in England. And from there, yeah, I started making my own, basically, right? I started mixing some coconut oil and cacao butter and some other exotic type of ingredients, essential oils and things in the kitchen, and made some interesting products, including some sort of basic sunscreen, right? And yeah, that led me to the opportunity to founding my own company, right, after a career in banking. And yeah, I founded PURU Swiss, basically, right, which is now Switzerland's #1 natural sun care brand.
Congratulations, by the way. That is incredible and so amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, you are a godsend for all of us vegan, holistic types. Because, yeah. And what's so funny was the other day I was putting on sunblock and I was really thinking, oh my gosh, do I really even need this? Like, there's so many chemicals in it, like, and then you appear. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, our sunscreen is not actually strictly vegan, actually,
sure, because
it does have some beeswax in there. I know it can be a contentious ingredient for some vegans. And I think it depends, right? Obviously, we don't have any cruelty when it comes to extracting the beeswax, for example, right? It's actually organic beeswax as well. So it's that, but it's 100% natural. It's also mineral-based as well. So I don't know if you know the difference between a mineral-based sunscreen and chemical sunscreen.
No, I don't, but I want to know because I want to use mineral-based. Like I want to. Yeah, I mean, my sunscreen definitely has chemicals in it, but that's why I was thinking, like, I wonder if there's another option, or maybe what would happen if I don't wear the sunscreen, and then I'm like, no, I have to. So I feel like sunscreen is something we all need, and I think that's what we've all been taught, so correct me if I'm wrong. But do go on and tell the difference between mineral and chemical and why we require sunscreen or not.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I know it's trending now as well in the more holistic kind of realms to not wear sunscreen at all, and I think there's valid points there, right? Of course, and there's a good point to say maybe none is better than the sort of chemical sunscreen, right? It could be said, right? Mm-hmm. Certainly, maybe in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, if you're spending prolonged time outside or playing sports, you're up in the mountains or on the lake where the water reflects, or the sea where the water reflects the UV waves, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. And especially if you're spending more time around, midday, 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock, then yeah, more than 1-2 hours for most people's types of skin can cause sunburn, right? And that's what you want to avoid, right?
And for someone like me, I'm Scottish-Irish, so I have the whitest skin on the planet, and I have to live in a wide brim hat and sunscreen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously all skin types are different, and if you have a fairer skin, yeah, you you have less pigment essentially in your skin, right? And you will burn more quickly. You can burn more quickly, right? But yeah, a mineral sunscreen essentially to be called an SPF has to have either two types of ingredients. It's titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. Our sunscreen uses a non-nanometric zinc oxide, for example, which we feel is safest for your skin and also, you know, aquatic life and others when swimming. Yeah. And what a mineral sunscreen does, it puts more of a physical barrier on top of your skin, and that reflects and scatters the UV waves, so that avoids you getting sunburn.
Well, you've said enough already. I'm going to switch to a mineral. But go on.
Yeah. And I mean, out of the two mineral-based, titanium dioxide is actually banned as a food ingredient. So it's okay for your skin, but banned for you to actually put it in you know, processed foods, essentially, right, which makes it white. But yeah, a chemical-based sunscreen typically uses nanoparticles, and that penetrates the skin barrier, and underneath the skin, that will causes a chemical reaction with the sun's UV waves, and that has an offset of heat, which stops you getting burning. But there's also known to offset also aldehydes and other kind of substances that can be more harmful to your skin, right?
Yeah, but in my mind I'm thinking, is this like somehow causing cancer among people? Because there was recently some tests done on ocean water, and they said, oh, there's high levels of bacteria and sunscreen chemicals, and like that was immediately like an alarm. Okay, then it's not good.
Yeah, so certain chemical sunscreen ingredients, right? Some of the harsher ones are now banned in Hawaii, for sale in Hawaii, Thailand, Palau, and some other Caribbean islands. Maybe at some point Switzerland and Australia and other places as well, right? It's affecting the aquatic life, and specifically in those places the coral reef, right? And causing damage there. So if it's causing damage to that, you know, the nanoparticles essentially, right, causes bleaching as it's known, then of course there's concern for your skin, right? And you know, it can cause skin damage, right? I mean, plus it's just adding more toxins, right? Because not only the chemical reaction with the nanoparticles, but also the other ingredients within those certain types of sunscreen also then get straight into your bloodstream, right? And it's just another toxin for your body. And I think there's so many toxins that we can see out there today in modern life, right? Whether it's processed food or air quality, clothing and detergents and that kind of thing, right? Yeah. And certainly in my kind of holistic health framework, I try to avoid as many toxins as possible. And even I find new ones every now and again, right, that I'm not even aware of, that I'm exposed to, you know?
Yeah, I'm of that same mind, like, and I'm a Christian, so I'm also of the mind, like, we need to be going back to the Garden of Eden, as natural as possible. God has already given us all the minerals and plants and etc. for our good, for our medicine. So I'm thrilled that you have PURU. What made you name it that?
So really it's a play on the word purity, right? So it stands for purity. In Switzerland, there is many languages, right? Certainly 4 official ones, the most being French, German, and Italian. And pure in French, German, and Italian is PUR, right? Also in English, pure, of course. So it's kind of like one word that would resonate, you know, across those 3 main languages in Switzerland, really.
Beautiful.
And it's been quite the challenge, obviously, getting a registered trademark for a 4-letter word that starts with PUR. But we have it. Yeah, we have a sort of registered trademark in most countries worldwide, as well as some agreements with other companies to use that. And it's I found it 6 years ago now, and it's been quite the journey, right? And really starting to get some traction now, certainly here and around Europe and beyond.
Well, it's wonderful. A lot of people in the United States are waking up to the need for natural-based products, etc. So huge market for you here. Can you tell us maybe some myths about sun care that you can debunk for us?
Sure, yeah. I actually wrote a book this year, or published a book this year, right, on the sun. And, you know, it's basically a book that's saying why the sun is good for you, right? So certainly took a risk owning a sun care brand and saying the sun is good for you, because most sun care brands say the opposite, right?
Right.
But yeah, like I start off actually in one of the first main sections, first chapters, talking about the myths, right? And obviously the biggest myth is that the sun is bad for you, right?
Right.
And it's not that I think the message is that the sun is bad for you, but that's kind of the loudest voice that is heard when we hear these narratives, right? And I think that's got to the point where some people are even afraid to look out the window from inside, or wear sunscreen inside, right?
Right.
When a window filters out most of the UV rays, essentially, right? So getting sunburn or having exposure to the sun inside is quite the extreme sort of case, I think, around that, right?
Yeah.
But saying the sun is bad, has a number of issues, right? One, it's like saying all water is bad, for example, because you can drown, for example, right? And
such a good point.
as we know, water comes in many different forms anyway, right? It can be clean or not so clean.
Mm-hmm.
And same with the sun, right? I mean, additionally with the sun, of course, is that it provides all life and sort of the main highest energy source in life, right? And without it, we wouldn't even exist. So to say,
it's so true.
Yeah,
it's like you're right. There is sort of this paradigm. Oh, the sun is your enemy. Stay out. Stay away from. But really, it's a great gift, and it's for good. I remember hearing that after the sunglasses were invented, there was a tremendous increase in cancer. And what I further learned was that actually sun in our eyes, there's something that happens when we get natural sunlight into our eyes. It's like,
Well, absolutely. So your eyes have the most receptors in your body, right? And it's the biggest cue to how you direct your life day to day, right? Because the light actually comes into your eyes, right? So your eyes are what touch the sun's light and sun's waves, energetic waves first.
Yeah.
So that's almost the most important, right? And this is becoming quite a popular subject where it's about this circadian rhythm, essentially, right, which is the sun's daily rhythm as we see it across the sky. And the top kind of tip is to try and certainly not wear sunglasses all day. That really dims out the light, and also just gives your body less cues to give itself more of a natural protection during the day, right?
Well, and a natural energy. And I must admit, ever since learning that, I've actually worn sunglasses less, and I've taken the time to actually look in the sun and get that direct light into connect with the sunlight into my own eyes. And I do sense an energy that does occur. Because I believe, God created everything, and it's a natural entity, all of creation, and we're all interconnected, and so, it's our friend. I mean, of course, if you lay in the sun for 8 hours, like you said, let's not go to extremes, but be reasonable. But it's not our enemy, as we have been told.
Absolutely not, right? And for sure, avoid getting sunburned, because it hurts for a reason, right? And when things hurt, it's generally a signal to say, don't do it. But
you've overdone it.
Well, we've all been there, I guess, right? And
True.
And you have to be more cautious in certain situations, of course, like I said, right? At high altitude, over water, even when it's there's snow, and other situations like that. But the sun and like you said, right, connecting the eyes to the sun, right? I'd certainly do that more often since I wrote the book, right? Became kind of even more consciously aware of it. And if people have to wear sunglasses, maybe you're a top celebrity, or you just want to avoid the neighbor's gaze or something, right? Then you can still wear them, right? But you can kind of dip your sunglasses and still allow the sun to sort of touch your eyes, right, and connect with that light.
And I think so.
It energizes you, right? And getting some sunlight, even if it's only 5 seconds, right? 5 seconds is better than none, I would say. And that's going to give you, more energetic, cues for the day, because it's certainly the sun energy will give you a signal, right? The light will give you a signal to say, hey, it's the start of the day, right? I mean, in a very basic form. It also, tells you, its intensity and where it is during the day. And some even say, watching the sunset, right? So watching the kind of red light and more infrared rays of the sun, in the evening can help you get better sleep, right? And set your body better for rest, essentially, right? And I think at the
Well,
same
it's
time,
so true. Light is a form of energy. It's energy. So like I find I get an increase in vitality from connecting more to the sun and not being afraid to look at the sun with my eyes. Like it feels good, it just feels good.
Absolutely. And it makes you happy, right? And certainly the weather in Switzerland, Zurich is better than in London, the UK, right? And you see it, right? I mean, people here, certainly it's a more traditional place, right? For sure. And you can, even in the winter, right, when it's a nice hot day, certainly at higher altitude, midday you can feel really warm. And you see most of the people here will be sitting with their warm jackets on, right, because it's cold. But during the 2-3 hours of midday, people are happily enjoying the sun's energy and waves on their face, right? And it is energy, right? I mean, it's the source of most life on Earth, right? And why it grows. And
so newsflash, you don't have to live in sunglasses, people. Take them off for a while. Enjoy the sun in your eyes. It's good for you. So now tell me, in your book, and perhaps just as a product developer, an entrepreneur, how do you blend ancient wisdom with modern science, with understanding everything you do now about, the sun?
Yeah, I think it's more about taking it back to nature, right? I think modern ways have meant that many products go through processes to essentially extend the shelf life, right? So it can be more of a commercial product, but that means that the product that has all those chemicals and preservatives in there, right, means that it can sit on the shelf, for 3 years, 4 years perhaps, or even more in some cases. But then that's kind of like a low energetic vibrational frequency product, right? It's got a lower energetic frequency, right? And I wrote another book also called The Frequency Diet, right, about the sort of vibrational frequency of foods, right, and products. And essentially I think, to think of it simply, is an apple that's still connected to the tree is vibrating at a high, it's kind of its peak vibrational frequency, if you like, right? It's energetic vibrational frequency, and once it's picked, and that starts to come off, right? And everything vibrates, and really it's kind of using natural products goes some way back towards having more vibrational frequency that you're connected with, right? Obviously products is just one particular part of it, right? If you want to vibrate at a higher frequency yourself energetically, then certainly eating more natural, unprocessed, non-toxic foods, right? And even local and more seasonal to you, so you're in tune with your local environment, but also avoiding toxins, right? As part of a good natural diet. That's certainly the priority, but we do complement and we can supplement that with products and cosmetic products, and we have to use some in some cases, right, to clean ourselves and avoid having too many odors, which is again just a sort of energetic frequency that we emit, right?
This is an amazing concept, Sylvain, because I believe that we are spiritual beings having a very temporary earthly experience, and I believe our spirits are made of light. God is light, and we're made in His image. So our true essence is light, right? And so that's why when we connect with the sun, it does something to our spiritual body. It energizes and revitalizes our spiritual body. And then with the frequency diet, it's the same thing. Like even myself on my journey into veganism, which I still eat fish occasionally, but my whole thinking was, I don't want something dead with a dead energy in my vessel, because as you said, everything has a frequency. So I've gone extreme, like no sugar, no caffeine, no substances, completely holistic, all natural diet. Again, Garden of Eden. And I really have never felt better energetically, spiritually, with mental clarity, and then also how I feel I look, just my skin, etc. So I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, and it provides a kind of positive feedback loop, right, essentially. Whereas when you're constantly having toxic food, toxic products, toxic lifestyle, being toxic, right, to others, spiritually, energetically, like you said, right, then,
it's true.
then you're more of in a negative feedback loop where you're constantly having to try to correct yourself energetically, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we are essentially, like you said, energetic light beings, you know.
Yes.
And more than just the physical appearance that we have, we're emitting an energetic field, essentially, right? So
Yes.
when you see someone, you can almost see their energetic field. That is what kind of is their appearance, as opposed to strictly their, you know, their sort of features and how good looking maybe in a sort of physical nature someone may be, right?
Right.
You know, because someone even that maybe less sort of obviously good looking, let's say, they can enter a room and everyone, you know, grabs everyone's attention, right?
Well, exactly. Well,
that?
I think we're all beautiful in our uniqueness, but I get what you're saying, because there's a certain energy or light that we all emit as light beings. And actually, this reminds me of in the Bible, Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. He's like, but I give light to all men, and that is the light of life. And so we are all carrying this light of life. And so the more pure our vessel in terms of products, whether topically or in what we're ingesting, the more pure our light, the more strong that light. So regardless of your features, which again, I think we're all beautiful and unique as God created us, you'll just exude it. From a purity standpoint, it's beautiful.
And it provides a positive feedback loop, like you said, right? It kind of makes you feel great and gives you more clarity, right? Your body is less focused on trying to heal itself and detox itself, essentially, from these toxins, right? And it's more able to sort of give you more light and more clarity and you know, where do those ideas that come into your head come from, right? You know, visions or ideas or dreams, right?
Well, exactly. I think it's divinity, because if God is light, right, and if we being light beings, the more pure we are, the closer we get to our divinity, our divine nature. So we can hear more clearly from God, get the spiritual revelations, clarity, epiphanies. It's true. So we can get divine guidance. And for me, I know it's kind of a harsh term, but I do look at the preservatives, the chemicals, the toxins as poison, which is, for me, it's a lot easier to avoid them because I see them that way. I'm definitely not putting that on my skin because it's poison. I'm definitely not eating that because it's poison. You know, again, for me, it's all Garden of Eden. As natural and pure as possible is where we thrive as spiritual beings of light.
Yeah, that are able to create, right? I mean, you know, in many senses, we're all creating our future and the world in real time, right? As we speak now, and we have the ability to create, right? And make creations for ourselves and create content. I guess now is very popular, like we're doing now, I guess, right?
Yeah,
but,
here we are.
You know, if you're more in that sort of positive energy feedback loop state, then you're more inspired to create. You maybe even your time, you know, time feels more slowly and gives you more kind of clarity and time to be able to create, right? And make an impact and give you more meaning and purpose, right? Towards ultimately what kind of goals you aspire to, right?
Yeah, it's so true. And I think the more natural we are, in essence and in our vessel, like how we connect with nature too, even the world around us. Like I find when I go on walks, there's like a vividness to my experience with the physical realm, the physical world too. You know, so the more pure, the better. I mean, it's really just so simple. You know?
Yeah, I think the hard part is the willpower as well, right? Because it's easy to know all of this and maybe for someone to listen to this today, right? But actually putting it into practice, right, and doing that can be challenging, right? Because we have all of these kind of programs, if you like, or preconceived notions and things that we've been educated and heard from our parents, school, news, TV, you know, and sort of...
It's like we've been programmed, we have to deprogram.
In a way, yeah. And it's kind of, you know, you know what to do, but you still go and grab that, you know, toxic food that you think is your favorite, but actually it's, you kind of know maybe it's no good for you, but you go and do it anyway, and you keep doing it. And it's just having to, having the willpower and the mindset to stop, right?
Absolutely. And I think when it comes to that, I think we have to be patient with ourselves and understand that making these positive changes that we know are for our best interest, take time. Let it be a process for you, you know, like maybe today don't eat, just for like fasting, for example, is something I've incorporated. So for me, like I can go to like 36 hours, no food, no drink. But that's first step was just not fasting breakfast or fasting of food, you know, so slowly started eliminating the things that you know are bad. Baby steps, in other words, baby steps.
And that's what I put into the frequency diet book, right? It's also a kind of play with words to try and do what you know or what you think is better as frequently as possible, because, you know, we'll find ourselves in social situations, and we certainly don't want to alienate those most closely connected to us, right? So close family, things like that, you know. You know, if someone invites you out for that beer, or, you know, you can have less, of course, right, and do it less frequently. And no one's going to sort of, you know, think too badly of you, but you know, you don't want to sort of ostracize your close connections, because yes, sort of social aspect is important to life as well. Right?
That's such a good point, though, because but also something you must be careful of, because the social pressure is real, you know. And so, like for myself, when I stopped drinking alcohol, I would still go out with friends who drank, and the pressure to drink was still there, one another. But what I found, I would just have like a champagne glass, but with water in it. You know, so there are ways to hold to your values and desires to change your life for the better, without kind of bending to the social pressures.
Yeah, and keep those connections. But yeah, that's a great trick, right? And find as many tricks as you can that can kind of, you know, keep you connected socially, but not having to digest too many poisons, essentially.
Well,
right?
Fortunately, I have no problem with being perceived as a complete weirdo for my extreme choices. But yeah, like even my family, like, you know, I've gone to the extreme with my diet. Like I said, no sugar, no caffeine, no blah, blah, blah. But we all have to make our own choices, and that's the wonderful gift of free will and harnessing our willpower to make the best decisions that for our body, soul, and spirit.
Absolutely.
What role does vitamin D play in health? There's been a big thing about vitamin D lately.
Yeah, I think it's one part of the connection with the sun, right? It helps your skin and body produce vitamin D, which is crucial for life. But I think it seems to be a very sort of narrow focus, really, right? Because, you know, the sun has a full electromagnetic spectrum, right, of energetic waves, right, and that shows itself in different colors, right, which is from, you know, violet down to red, right, and then beyond that, ultraviolet on one end and infrared and beyond, right, on the other, and that's a full energetic spectrum, right. So, you know, yes, it provides vitamin D, you could say, right, but essentially, I think it's a kind of more narrow framework, right? That allows, people to take vitamin D supplements and things like that, right? Which you know, could be fine. But I like to think things more naturally, right? And, you know, you can kind of take it up a level in the framework, right? Which is just that the sun's energetic light is good, right? It's positive and gives you lots of benefits. It's crucial for life and gives you all sorts of energetic chemicals in your body that function, that help all of your organs function, essentially, right? Rather than just sort of focusing on one particular aspect and that. And of course, there is scientific, you know, evidence and lots of studies that show that, you know, it helps vitamin D production and all of that. That's fine. But I think it's kind of looking at things in different frameworks, right? Just like food, eat more higher energetic food with less toxins, right? It's a very simple framework, and you can just live by that, right? And that actually can work. Just like the sun is good, right? Provides benefits, and it charges up and provides kind of electrochemical energy in your body that feeds all of your functions, right? And helps all of your body, right? From not just vitamin D and your skin. So yeah, of course, like that's valid, but you know, I think it's very easy to get sort of lost in complex scientific terminology, essentially, right? And when you start using that, I think that's when you start losing people as well, essentially, right? As soon as you say one of these scientific terms, then, you know, you've kind of lost someone and they have to go and look that up and understand a new term. And then it's kind of the end of the conversation in many ways, right? Where if you can kind of take things, it's a more simpler framework, I think it's better to understand and comprehend, right? and there's lots of different things that the sun does, right? But also, yeah, like helps your, when you go to sleep, for example, right? There's a certain chemical energy called melatonin, again, a bit scientific word, but, it's a chemical energy, right? It's produced by your pineal gland that it's known to touch every single cell of your body, which puts you in the sleep state, essentially, right? And I think maybe right, the pineal gland or third eye is where, your creativity and dreams and things are kind of produced, right? So that chemical energy, in a way, puts yourself to sleep, enables you to lie with your eyes closed, breathing gently, and in a restful, healing state.
Right.
That also allows you to dream, right, and be in the sort of more metaphysical world, right, as you say, right?
So now you have a commitment to pure products. How do you support your sustainable product sourcing and your commitment to 100% natural ingredients?
So yeah, we look very much closely at the products that we source, right, and from that end, we have a certification, right, which is certainly the biggest one in Europe, which is called EcoCert, and our products have the sun care products have the highest EcoCert certification, which is Cosmos Organic, and I get audited every year by these guys, and they're tough, right, and they look at all of the ingredients, where they're sourced, and ensure that the ingredients are not overly processed and natural. They approve everything, not only at ingredient level, but also the labeling, right, as well. So we're not kind of, making any claims that are not true. We wouldn't be able to put 100% natural, for example, on our sunscreen, without their approval, right? They have certain rules around what we can say on the labels also. And, they're strict, right? So, it's important that we get, high quality, unprocessed ingredients as possible, right? That are non-toxic.
What about adaptogens or nootropics? I know these are kind of like buzzwords.
So these are more like the synthetic type drugs, I guess, right? The synthetic type chemicals that you can buy now that kind of give you more energy, I guess, right? Is that
okay? So you don't use those at all, then?
No, I'm not too aware. I've heard the word nootropics, but I've just seen it more, people online talking about it as if they're sort of, giving them more energy to work and things like that. So,
right. No, but then it wouldn't really apply here then. So now, what's your vision for global wellness or the future of sun care?
Sure. So, I've often, certainly more recently, right, questioned why I'm doing this, right, why I work so hard on this every day,
Right.
And I see it as, looking for deeper meaning and purpose in my own experience and existence right here in this physical world, right? And I see it as my mission, really, right, and purpose to spread and be on the education of more natural products and especially sun care, right? And that's why I took it further, writing the book on the sun, because I just thought, well, how far can I go in this kind of educational type mission that I'm on, right? And I felt like I had to write a book on the sun, and it was absolutely amazing experience doing the research for it, right? And learned many things that I couldn't put in the book, of course, right? Running a commercial company, of course, and so really,
I'm sure you're much more enlightened, pun intended, after all your research, and now producing a book that will re-educate consumers on the true benefits of the sunlight, and why we actually need it. Plus your book, The Frequency Diet, which is an incredible complement to the Sun book, because it's talking about natural foods and the natural diet and the benefit of that for us as well. So they really go hand in hand. Again, us being body, soul, and spirit, our spirit is light, and then our body also the benefits of natural foods. Where can they get these incredible, enlightening, holistic healing books?
They're based on Amazon, right? So
Oh, great.
the beauty of the modern technology now is that, I guess you don't have to, like my father did, right? Not have to kind of write hundreds of letters to different publishers and kind of hope
Right.
they resonate with your work, right?
Yeah.
I think with Amazon, it's fantastic, right?
Yes.
You can look up on YouTube how to publish a book on Amazon. There's hundreds of videos, right?
Yeah,
And
the
download the
freedom of
software.
creativity is just incredible in our day and age. But so that's
Yes.
wonderful to know. It's easily accessible on Amazon. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
we're featuring you as a business leader in
Mm-hmm.
the magazine, so we will certainly link to both the books. And what about PURU? How can people get the products and become a loyal consumer of mineral-based sun care?
Yeah, so we sell mainly on our website, which is puru.ch, which is the Swiss-based website, where we also deliver worldwide from our international warehouse in the EU. Most of our customers are in Europe and the EU, but we are looking to expand. We do deliver to the US, but obviously delivery is a little bit more expensive. But we are looking to get distributors and get more local delivery in the US. I do have another sister brand as well called Pure, and this is more anti-aging and 100% natural anti-aging type products, and they are locally available in the US on pureturnia.com as well. And there we have a series of 100% natural sort of face care and different types of soaps and that kind of thing, right?
Well, it
And
sounds like you're onto something massive.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the brand name Pure is just incredible. It's such a great name that I think people all over the world are really flocking to, is a more pure, holistic lifestyle. So I think it's incredible. I wanted to know, what's the key takeaway from all your research, your incredible research you've done up until now?
Well, I think really going on the sort of spiritual journey about who we are, where we are, and what we are, right? And I guess most importantly, why we are, right? And I don't have all the answers, of course, right? I think life is a sort of continual journey of learning, and the moment you ever start to think maybe you've finished or you know it all, I think life will remind you that you haven't, most likely, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really it, right? It's kind of just trying to discover who you are, and what that means, and really, prioritizing yourself, right? Of course, right? I mean, love yourself and prioritize yourself, but ensure that you always consider how your actions and affect others, essentially, right? And make sure that it's not energetically affecting others. And it could be such simple things, right? As dropping litter, means someone else has to pick that up, right? And they have to expend energy and maybe even, sort of direct negative energy to the person that did that, right? So it's kind of living a kind of really, holistic kind of lifestyle, but considering what your energy is and where it is and where it goes, and how it affects, yourself, of course, but also others.
Yes, it's so true. This again reminds me of scripture where, Jesus teaches us about he says, I've created good works for you in advance so that you could walk in them and do them. And this always is aligned with our purpose and our destiny, and you seem to be aligned with yours, because it's obviously in alignment with what God wants for us, is to be natural and pure, and utilizing the earth as our resources to create the products that are good for us, and so you are bringing light to it again, pun not intended, but through your works, the works that you were created to do, and the products that you were designed by God himself to bring into the earth for all of our benefit, and then the point about, not being toxic, and remembering that each little action has a butterfly effect throughout the world. And that reminds me again of scripture where it says, love your neighbor as yourself. So do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And if we really all did this and operated from this state of being, we could have a taste of heaven on earth. And how wonderful would that be?
Absolutely. And, I think Earth is heaven in a way, right? I mean, you can kind of wait to get to heaven, but we have that opportunity and heavenly opportunity right now, right? With our own existence and how we are and treat others, and yeah, be the change you want to see around you. Right?
Yes.
Your greatest power is to change yourself and have that willpower, like we said, right? To make change and make positive and beneficial change to yourself, and you can, from that, you can see the world change around you, right? And see that positive.
You want to see the change, you've got to be the change.
Sure, absolutely, right?
It's lovely. Well, I love what you're doing, and thank you so much. I commend you. It's such an honor to be able to spend some time with you today because of the great work that you're doing, and I'm so excited for PURU to enter into the U.S. market, to continue to grow in this market. Are there any sort of final thoughts or perhaps goals for PURU that you have, or things you'd like to share that is important for our audience to know?
Yeah, just that, I think we all have an opportunity to we are where we are now, and have an opportunity to do something going from here. And use more natural products, eat more natural food, and I think if you have that and use that, and it can provide a more positive feedback loop, like we said, right? And make you vibrate at a high vibrational frequency, and you'll see that that can happen, right? It's slow. I think it's not something where you can make these changes and you'll see changes overnight, for example, right? With certain things, it's certainly if we've been mistreating everyone the whole entire lives, I don't think treating people nicely for a day is going to make a massive impact immediately. But yeah, I mean, we want to, with the sunscreen, we want to expand to the US, where we have a mascot for our product, which is a cute pudgy penguin, who are a company based in Miami, right? They're headquartered out of Miami, and they're making a really big impact around the world in terms of becoming like a next cute IP business, a bit like Disney, if you like. And they actually have more Giphy views, like the GIFs you send on WhatsApp, right? GIFs, than Disney right now, right? I think they have almost more than double the amount of GIFs views than Disney, and they're making a massive impact. And yeah, we have one of the characters as a part of their world. I call him Captain PURU. He's a cute happy penguin.
Oh, I love that.
With a
That's
sailor
awesome.
hat. And yeah, I'll be out with them. I go to a lot of events with them. And I'll be out with them in Miami in December. I've booked a trip to Miami in December to go and see them at their conference at Art Basel in Miami. And yeah, some of the products will be showcased there. They asked me today if I could bring some to showcase at their stand, I guess, their stall at Art Basel. And yeah, I think hopefully through them we can get the right connections to get the approval for our products in the US, and keep expanding and spreading the good word, right? I mean, I think I will see myself as a success once all of the big brands have moved over to a non-nanometric zinc oxide mineral-based sunscreen, right? And in a way, I think, I'm not worrying about that as sort of competition. I think if I've played a part in that change, then I will feel like a part of my purpose and mission is done, right? And I think
amen. I mean, from your mouth to God's ears, and I really am like your biggest cheerleader. Like, hooray, hooray. Yes, I want the same thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and really I love it. It's just, I'm so excited for you. I love what you're doing. And again, thank you so much for spending time with me today, for sharing your journey with us, your amazing, incredible products that will, Lord willing, become a household name sooner than later.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Okay, stay in touch and we'll see you next time.
Will do. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye, Sylvain.
Take care.